Well, the sinking Liberal ship is rapidly running out of available life rafts as news broke today that 5 top Liberal government aides are resigning their posts. This follows news that Justin Trudeau's own campaign director announced his resignation last week because he doesn't believe that Justin Trudeau can even win. The man tasked with making sure Justin Trudeau wins doesn't think he's up to the job. And nor do most Canadians.
A party that took another big hit today because on top of losing the NDP support, the Liberal Party also lost the man set to manage their next campaign. Jeremy Broadhurst announced today he's calling it quits as the party's national campaign director.
Jeremy Broadhurst, the Liberals' national campaign director, is stepping down. With
Chiefs of staff at Global Affairs, Heritage, Environment, National Revenue, and Mental Health and Addictions all announced their resignations to the government today, according to Liberal sources, as reported in the Globe and Mail. Couple that news with the fact that Trudeau no longer has a supply and confidence deal with the NDP, and his situation looks pretty grim. But it doesn't end there on the sinking ship. There's another cabinet minister who is now looking for his own life raft off the ship, and that happens to be Pablo Rodriguez, Trudeau's transportation minister and former heritage minister, as we call him on this show, Canada's own El Censor. Well, Pablo seems to be planning his own great escape now. Now, what is Captain Trudeau's rescue plan for his ship? Well, it seems to be to call in the Quebec separatists, the Bloc Québécois, to try to form their own agreement. Before we get into the show, be sure to drop a like on this video. Help us out by subscribing to the True North YouTube channel. And the comment question for the episode is this: who will be next to leave Justin Trudeau's sinking ship? Let me know your answer in the comments below, and let's get into it. Well, here we go. Check out this headline in the Globe and Mail published by Bob Fife. 5 chiefs of staff set to leave the Trudeau government. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government is contending with an exodus of senior staff just as the minority Liberals are returning to a precarious position in the House of Commons, having lost the automatic support of the New Democratic Party. 5 of his 38 ministers are losing their chiefs of staff in quick succession, with several already gone, including the top advisors at Global Affairs, Heritage, Environment, National Revenue, and Mental Health and Addictions. The source said a number of staffers had been planning their exits for months, while others had been considering leaving for a long time before finally making the move. Yeah, finally making the move after Justin Trudeau just lost his lifeline with the NDP.
Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the supply and confidence agreement.
The chiefs of staff, the top aides, are only following in the footsteps of Liberal campaign director Jeremy Broadhurst, who announced his sudden resignation last week, basically saying that he doesn't think Trudeau can win and that he doesn't think there's anything that can be done. He didn't exactly say that. Of course, he said that he didn't want to ask his family to sacrifice another year for this job. But I think we all know the reality here. On the same day that Jeremy Broadhurst announced his resignation, an Angus Reid poll was released which showed that the Liberals could potentially end up in 4th place if an election were held today, behind the NDP and the Bloc Québécois. Now, this was the media reaction to Broadhurst's sudden resignation.
You know, you can be there a long time, work your tail off, do a great job, but everybody gets a little bit long in the tooth sometimes too. So if it's the right time for him to leave, it may also be the right time for the party, as she said, you know, to start thinking about, okay, a year until the next election, how do we do things a little bit differently? Because when you're, 20+% in the polls, you know, it's a fair bet. I think it's reasonable to say maybe then some things should change.
Of course, his statement put out to social media was released a day after Jagmeet Singh pulled out of the supply and confidence deal. But Justin Trudeau, well, he's prepared to keep sailing that sinking ship and, if necessary, perhaps even go down with the ship. Because he, according to his latest statements, isn't going anywhere.
I really hope the NDP stays focused on how we can deliver for Canadians, as we have over the past years, rather than focusing on politics.
But how are Canadians taking the news on social media of yet another mass exodus happening around Justin Trudeau? Well, exactly as you probably expected. The party is in full-scale collapse. They are fleeing before the adults take over and the real scrutiny starts. Breaking: 5 chiefs of staff set to leave the Trudeau government. They increase their marketability if they leave before the Titanic sinks, another user wrote. They can run, but they can't hide. There will be audits. Well, what might Justin Trudeau try next to try to save his political fate? Well, it might be to make a deal with the Bloc Québécois, with the Quebec separatists. Well, according to Yves-François Blanchet, that is exactly what the Bloc is looking to do. They are looking to extract concessions from a minority Liberal government.
The Bloc is a natural ally on a number of subjects, less naturally so on others. But, the leader of the Bloc will be able to leverage a lot, you would think, for people in Quebec, for the kinds of policies that he wants to see pursued, because the Liberals sort of can give him that leverage, can go say, okay, we have a lot of stuff for Quebec that we're willing to do in order to stay in power. It's kind of a small price to pay in the views of Liberals. And so I would look ahead to them leaning on the Bloc.
Just imagine if Justin Trudeau, if only to save his political future for a few more months, decides to give the Bloc Québécois a referendum. Would you even put it past Justin Trudeau at this point to do something like that? How symbolic would it be if Justin Trudeau's final act as Prime Minister is to strike an agreement and to get into political bed with a group of people who despise our country and our institutions? It really is all but over for the Liberals now. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us today on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Harrison Faulkner, and this is Ratio.